Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome to the Wednesday evening Caitanya-caritāmṛta class reading and discussion held by the Prabhupada Disciples Association and Hare Krishna Society. And it's important to note the name Prabhupada Disciples Association. It was very carefully established a few years back. This name was established by us to identify our membership as Prabhupada disciples. Because there is a lot of confusion about Guru Tattva. Who is the bona fide, or what is the bona fide process for practicing Krishna consciousness? And the most important principle is Guru Tattva. Without the association of a pure devotee, one cannot get the proper instructions on how to perform devotional service properly according to the instructions of the great acharyas in our disciplic succession. So fundamentally, this is the bottom line. This is the first step in understanding who you are as a human being. And we've discussed this before from Nectar of Devotion, that Krishna says, "He who says he is my devotee is not my devotee, but he who is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee." So the essence of this is that we are all the servants of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And that common bond is what is the basis that gives us spiritual strength. Just like when you take bamboo, if one stick of bamboo can easily be broken, but when you bundle the bamboo together, Prabhupada gives the example, it becomes strong. That's very hard to do that in the community of devotees these days. Most people are narcissistic. Or another way of looking at it is called bhajananandis. Oh yeah, I chant my rounds. I offer my food. I eat prasadam for myself or my family. I save my money for case of emergency for myself and whoever I think. But anything else for other people, no thank you. Everyone has been scattered around the world through the unfortunate situation that's taken place in the movement that we previously worked for or served in. And it's interesting to note, Prabhus, that if you go to a current temple in ISKCON and you voice the opinion that Prabhupada is the bona fide guru, and these new so-called gurus that they've elected through the GBC aren't the bona fide gurus, guess what they do? They'll kick you out. Yes, they will. If you have a philosophical discrepancy with them, they'll eliminate you. They'll banish you. Of course, this is not the proper way to deal with people that have a difference of opinion philosophically. And you should know, all of us, that we are right and they are 100% wrong. So they're kicking out people that are telling the truth and embracing people that are compromised and prepared to stay and work with them to propagate their own guru business. And this is going on in 2024. Recently, I heard a story from one of my godbrothers. There's a GBC man guru in San Diego trying to collect money to build a beach house for himself by the ocean in his old age for $2 million. Excuse me? Was that $2 million? Yes. And on the basis of some fraudulent guru system, guru business, they're asking people for donations to help this person do that. We cannot stand for that. We will not stand for it, our membership. And if you have an opportunity, speak up. If you're not part of the solution, remember this, everyone, and everyone knows this axiom. If you're not part of the solution, you've become a part of the problem. And this is not going to please Srila Prabhupada. People can say what they want about us. They can criticize, but we at least have a starting point with our group. The Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. We have newsletters. We have a very, active Facebook presence. We get tens of thousands of views of our posts on a monthly basis throughout the globe. We have over 16,000 members now in the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We've got some ambitious plans to print books, original books, unadulterated, unedited books, to help people understand the truth of Guru Tattva. Book distribution is one thing, but we should also learn how to distribute books and how to follow up and cultivate the people that receive the books so that they become trained as devotees of Srila Prabhupada and committed members of the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is, of course, something that we're working on and moving forward with. Because Prabhupada established a wonderful movement, everyone. A very wonderful movement. And we see, when you look at all the videos that we show on our programs, you see all the pictures of Prabhupada and the devotees that were joining with him. And you see the momentum that he created when he was here with us, personally present. This was a very inspiring period. And Prabhupada started he started with nothing except absolute faith in the words of his spiritual master and in the commitment to spread the Sankirtan movement according to Bhaktisiddhanta's instructions and the blessings of Lord Chaitanya. And we'll go to the diaries, which we're enjoying so much. And I wanted to show you a picture that Prabhupada brought with him from India back in 1965. Look at this photo. Now, just see this. And the footnote is, here's a picture of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting the holy names. Srila Prabhupada brought this picture with him from India on his trip to America in 1965. Look at that. Amazing, huh? We're actually seeing the Supreme Lord. This was just something completely unknown to the rest of the world. And Prabhupada was the ambassador of truth to bring the message of Lord Chaitanya and the chanting of the holy names to the entire planet. The greatest preacher in the history of the world. The greatest. Anyone who minimizes Srila Prabhupada's work, anybody who minimizes his translations of his books, anybody that prevents this process of pure devotional service preached by him to be presented to the world, they are not welcome with us. No, they're not. And we'll go here to this first day of June, Wednesday, June 1st, 1966. We'll start to follow here, like we have been, following carefully how the pure devotee was organizing himself, Krishna Katha, organizing himself to spread the Sankirtan movement and setting the example for us how to be organized. Whatever great men do, common men follow. Whatever standards they set by exemplary acts, all his disciples pursue. That's paraphrased, but you get the idea. Sunrise, 6:33 a.m., sunset, 7:22 p.m., moon sets, 3:21. Triodasi, today I went to Immigration and Naturalization Office. They gave me an extension up to September 17th, 1966. E.j. July, August, and 17 days of September 66. I paid them $10 and purchased low or 60 cents expenditure was a $10.60. I guess that's the transportation fee. Mr. Goldsmith, lawyer, came to see me in the connection with society registration. I gave him my suggestions. So he's working constructively, even though he had limited time. He still wasn't thinking, I'm going to just stop what I'm doing. In the evening, there was a meeting. There were gatherings of about 16 heads. Although Carl and Green did not come, both came with some flour and suji. I required some flour and Krishna sent it. It was an expenditure of $12. A contribution of $12, an expenditure of $10.60. Nota bene, today's lecture was very interesting. You might be able to find that online. Thursday, June 2nd, 1966. Sunrise, 4:32 a.m., sunset, 7:23, moonset, 3:54. Chaturdasi, today I paid Paul $1.50 for expenses. On accounts, books, $5, and bank deposit of $20. On Friday, June 3rd, 1966. Sunrise, 4:32 a.m., sunset, 7:23 p.m., moonset, 4:32, Purnima in the evening. There was a class, and it was the best than all previous classes. So he's becoming enlivened. He's getting some positive input, like we are, with our society and our classes. Hundreds and hundreds of appreciations sent to us monthly from people around the world who appreciate what we're doing. And they're inspired. In the evening, there was a class. And it was the best. There was an attendance about 20, and contribution was $19. On Saturday, June 4th, sunrise 4:32 a.m., sunset 4:24 p.m., moon rises 9:13. Pratipad. Today I paid Paul $2 for expenses. Paul Murray, that is. In the Sanskrit class, the contribution was only $9, and Mike paid the balance for the book, $4. That's Mike Grant. Mukunda, back then. I don't know where he is now, but he was a devotee back then. Income, $13, expenditure, $2. Today the temperature was very warm. For the first time I took bath in the evening. And here we have Sunday, June 5th, 1966. And look at this beautiful picture of Prabhupada there. Sunrise, 4:32 a.m. Thank you. Sunset, 7:25 p.m. Moonrise, 10:06. Dvita, the whole day was very hot. There was no expenditure, neither any income. In the evening, Paul paid to Paul expenditure of $1. So he Prabhupada kept track of every dollar, every penny. And on Monday, June 6th, the sunrise was at, do we have, there we go. The sunrise was 4:32 a.m. Sunset was 7:25 p.m. Moonrise was 10:49. Tritya, bank deposit was $25. Paper expense was $1.57, and a bitter melon was 30 cents. This was something that Lord Chaitanya liked. In the evening, there was a meeting. About more than 16 men and women attended. The meeting was interesting, but the collection was poor. Contribution only $9.50. So it's like 50 cents a person. Book collection, Raphael, 3 taken, $4. So $13.50. Income, $13.50. Expenditure, $26.87. One gentleman has taken a set of book. Altogether, 5 sets distributed out of 16. There is a balance now of 11 sets. So moving into June, there's a lot of exciting things that are going to happen, everyone. In July, as Prabhupada, in the back of his mind, is preparing, for security reasons, to move out of the 94 Bowery and move in with the help of some of his new disciples, aspiring disciples, move into 26 Second Avenue, the Matchless Gift store, and then the movement with Prabhupada completely on his own and in control will start to explode, to take off. So this is a very inspiring part of this diary that we're at now. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Sankirtan movement, all glories to the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then our reading and discussion with His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu in the mountains of California. Hopefully the sun is appearing there and the sun is going away, and he has no interference with his internet. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Praman Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhavan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. We are reading from the original unrevised 1974 version of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the non-adulterated version. And as we do every week, we will be reciting and studying a few verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, which describe the great potency and benefit of hearing this great literature. This is from Adi Lila, from chapter 1, text 18. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke kariye cheno yatmasat. 18 era charana bandhan tire morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Text number 20. Grantera Rambikari Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Text number 21. Tinera smarane ai vigna vinashana, anayase ai nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text number 22. Simangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesha shirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. As we do every week, we will read from a few selected passages from lectures on the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, which were given by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is from a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 39 in Mayapur, India, on October 19th, 1974. October 19th, 1974. Srila Prabhupada explains, so Vaishnava, just like Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Karacha, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that Jagai Madai Muise se papishta, Purisher Kitoete Muise se lagishta, from Caitanya-caritāmṛta Adi Lila 5205. Caitanya-caritāmṛta author, such an exalted person, practically the most exalted personality in Gaudiya Vaishnava, his Caitanya-caritāmṛta, there is no comparison. It is postgraduate study. So the author of the book is presenting himself that my position is lower than the worm in the stool. Purisher kitoete muise lagishta. And Jagai Madai oe muise papishta. Jagai Madai was the example of papi, sinful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Narottam Das Thakur sings, Papi tapi jata chilo, Hari name uddarilo, Brajendra nandalaje, Sachi suta oilase, Balarama oilonitai. Two brothers who were formerly the son of Vrajendra Nandana, the Maharaj Nanda, his son, Krishna and Balarama. So Balarama has become Nitai, and Krishna has become Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But why they have become Nitai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Now, Papi Tapi Jata Chilo, just to deliver all the sinful persons. So did they do actually so? Yes. Then where is the evidence? Tara Sakshi Jagai and Madai. Here is evidence. They delivered Jagai and Madai. So Chaitanya, Jagai, Madai in those days were taken as very, very sinful, although they were born of Brahmana family. But by bad association, they became thieves, rogues, gunda, and drunkards, meat-eaters, and women hunters. These are all good qualifications now, very good qualifications. If one is women hunter and drunkard and meat eater, oh, his social position is very nice, up to date, up to date. This is modern civilization. But formerly, especially a gentleman means born of high caste, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. If they would be women hunter, drunkards, meat eaters, immediately they'll be rejected from the position. Immediately. That was Hindu society. No gentleman could, still now, in some provinces, the high caste men, Brahmana, Kshatriyas, they'll never touch these things. This is sinful. So Jagai Madai, they were zamindars, very rich men and Brahmana. But because they were addicted to these habits, they were taken as the most sinful. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu delivered them, Papi tapi jata chilo, Hari name uddarilo. So the same principle is being followed at the present moment, and by the grace of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the result is also same. because Jagai Madai was delivered by them. So by the same Hare Krishna Mahamantra, thousands of Jagai Madai are coming to be purified. The process is the same. This is called Parampara system. If we follow the Parampara system strictly, then the effect will be the same. As it was 5,000 years ago, 500 years ago, the same effect will be also. So this is a very important point we're seeing here. Prabhupada glorifying the exalted position of Krishnadas Kaviraj and his explanation of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. This week we will be reading from chapter 4, text number 208. Before we begin the actual reading, I wanted to make a brief announcement. I have heard some very auspicious news from Honolulu, Hawaii, that one of our friends, one member of PDA, Prabhupada Disciples Association of Hare Krishna Society, who distribute books as part of his business of selling clothes. Actually, in his career in Krishna consciousness, I found out he's distributed over 600,000 books in the last 45, 50 years. But recently I was informed by this devotee named Dina Ashraya Das that the president of the Honolulu Temple, ISKCON Temple, insists that only Prabhupada's original 1972, the authorized edition of Bhagavad Gita, should be distributed in the temple. And when they go preaching at the University of Hawaii in Honolulu, they only distribute these original books, which is very good news, as opposed to some critics who claim that these books are Ritvik books, such a nonsense, offensive terminology. But we're very pleased with these devotees that they're taking major steps to keep preaching the message presenting by Srila Prabhupada in his Bhagavad Gita and his original books. Back to the original reading. All the synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text 208. Matsevaya pratitam te, Matsevaya pratitam te, Salokyadi chatushtayam, Salokyadi chatushtayam, Nichanti sevaya purna, Nichanti sevaya purna, Kutonyat kala viplutam, Kutonyat kala viplutam, mat of me, sevaya by service, pratitam obtain, te they, salokya adi liberation, beginning with salokya, chatushtayam four kinds of, na icchanti do not desire, sevaya by service, purna complete, hutaha where, anyat other things, kala viplutam which are lost in time. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. My devotees, having fulfilled their desires by serving me, do not accept the four kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why then should they accept any pleasures that are lost in the course of time? Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.67 was spoken by the Lord in connection with the characteristics of Maharaja Ambarisha. Merging into the existence of the Absolute is as temporary as living in the celestial kingdom. Both of them are controlled by time. Neither position is permanent. Text number 209. Kama gandhahina swabhavika gopi prema nirmala ujvala shuddhayena dagdahema. Kama gandhahina, without any scent of lust. swabhavika, natural, gopi prema, the love of the gopis, nirmala, spotless, ujjvala, blazing, shuddha, pure, yena, like, dagdahema, molten gold. Translation: the natural love of the gopis is devoid of any trace of lust. It is faultless, bright and pure, like molten gold. Text 210. Krishnera sahaya guru bandhava priyasi, gopika hayena priya shishya sakidasi. Krishnera, of Lord Krishna. Sahaya, helpers. Guru, teachers. Bandhava, friends. Preyasi, wives. Gopika, the gopis. Hayena, are. Priya, dear. Shishya, students. Saki, confidants. Dasi, servants. Translation: the gopis are the helpers, teachers, friends, wives, dear disciples, confidants, and serving maids of Lord Krishna. Om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shat Karumishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. As I mentioned prior to our reading, with regards to the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books, original books, I wanted to bring some attention that during Prabhupada's manifested presence, because this is a topic, this idea of book changes and book changers, that has basically produced a lot of controversies. And some devotee recently has asked me, well, did Prabhupada authorize any actual changes to his original Bhagavad Gita? Well, we know of two changes. We know that in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada describes what's called Krishi Goraksha, the qualification of Vaishyas, Prabhupada said, one thing immediate, this is from a conversation on April 21st, 1976, a morning walk in Melbourne, Australia. April 24, 1976, a morning walk in Melbourne, Australia. I believe that Dvaipaya and Balaram may have been actually on that walk. Prabhupada, one thing immediately informed Rameswar in the Bhagavad Gita yesterday, They have edited cattle raising, but not cattle raising. Cattle raising means to grow and killing. That is meaning the rascals they have edited. Pushta Krishna, yes, and we're Prabhupada, and protection of cows, clearly. Guru Kripa, chapter 18 Bhagavad Gita, that the Vaishyas work. Pushta Krishna, oh, Krichi Goraksha. Prabhupada, Krishi Goraksha, immediately informed them. Pushta Krishna, okay, I noticed that also. I thought it was strange some time back. Prabhupada Hayagriva edited, he taught cattle raising, not cattle raising. But the word there, it is mistranslation. It is Goraksha, giving protection to the cows, especially meant in Goraksha, not otherwise. The animal leaders may take other animals, but not cow. They can take the pigs, goats, lambs, rabbits, so many others. If they at all want to eat meat, birds, there are so many. There's no such mention that animals should be protected. No, cows should be protected. That is Krishna's order. They have decided to kill the cow. They have decided no brain, eat. And our prayer is, go brahmana hitaya-ca, to do good to the brahmanas and the cows. Actually, it is revolutionary in the modern age. But how it is possible we say otherwise? That Ban Maharaj came and said, right, am I right? When Ban Maharaj here, when our student said something, oh, that you cannot say, that you cannot say, he said like that. Now, there's another conversation with regards to another verse in the Bhagavad Gita. I believe this deals with the, let me see here. This is a conversation which took place in Paris, France, a room conversation in 1973, on August 11, 1973. August 11th, 1973, Prabhupada is talking about another verse in the Bhagavad Gita that he wanted some correction. Prabhupada says, no, anyone who knows that I've explained, that everyone is sitting on the floor, so everyone knows that he's not floor. He's different from the floor. Is it very difficult? Bhagavan, no. Srila Prabhupada, so this is knower. Similarly, by common sense, we can understand that we're not this body. Yogeshwar, it says in a purport, now the person who identifies himself with the body is called kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Prabhupada, Yogeshwar, in the purport it says, the body is called kshetra, or the field of activity, for the conditioned soul, and the person who identifies himself with the body is called kshetra, kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Prabhupada, no, it is wrongly written. Yogeshwar, not just those people. Srila Prabhupada identifies with the body. He's not kshetrajna. Yogeshwar, he does not know. Srila Prabhupada, no, it is wrongly written. Bhagavan, that was not my question. This was my question. Srila Prabhupada, it is wrongly written. Bhagavan, from lecture and one can. Srila Prabhupada, who does not identify, it should be. Yogeshwar, who does not identify, yes. Srila Prabhupada, it is wrong. Bhagavan, that is always questioned in Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada, it is not. It has been misedited. If you identify with body, how you know it? It is a very great mistake. Bhagavan, we can write them, make that correction. Srila Prabhupada, yes, write immediately. One must know that I am not this body. That is knowledge. That is knower. That is common sense. I say it is my body. I don't say I body. That I explain. One who does not, one who knows that I am not this body, he is real knower. And one who knows that I am this body, he does not know. He is in ignorance. Just like Danielu, Yogeshwar, a Krishna conscious person, He can maintain his position in family, government, business, anything. Prabhupada, why not? All these Pandavas, they were government men. How they maintain Krishna consciousness? Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were fighting for political reasons, so they were Krishna conscious fully. Who identifies with this body, he's described as cow or ass. How he can be knower? It is wrongly edited. The word not, it was edited by whom? Hayagriva, Hamsadura Hayagriva, Bhagavan, Jayadvaita, Srila Prabhupada, Hamsadura Hayagriva also. Hayagriva and Jayadvaita. Srila Prabhupada, this should be corrected immediately. So the point is that Srila Prabhupada is making some very strong statements here. He's requesting some authorized changes to his Bhagavad Gita. There are not too many other documented changes. I know there has been a lot of discussion and criticism of the translation of the Planet of the Pea Trees into Planet of the Trees, but Prabhupada, there's no record of Prabhupada making much of an issue of it. That is just correcting one word. It doesn't require that the entire Bhagavad Gita should have 5,000 changes. There is that change with the Kshetrajna, the change with Krichi Gorakshavanityam, from cattle raising to cow protection. That's all that is required. This is the documented evidence from Srila Prabhupada of what he wanted. And this is very important because people have taken the liberty to interpret that they can change anything and everything they want. This is crazy. Just like recently I heard somebody sent me a news article that some contractor, without checking anything, he went to a lot in a subdivision and started to build a house. And he built a house on the wrong lot. So when there was subsequent litigation, the issue was, well, didn't you get a survey? Didn't somebody check whether this particular lot was the lot you were supposed to build on? So this is an example, although it is a material example, that we're supposed to follow the instruction of the Acharya. It's like if you build a house, the normal process is to get a proper survey of the land to establish the boundaries, establish the exact line, establish where the easements and right-of-ways are, and then you build the house. If you don't get a survey, then this is what can happen. You can get in big trouble. And this is now what we have, is a full-fledged controversy with devotees all around the world who have protested against the authorized changes to Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And this is very important. We know from the testimony of Govinda Dasi, she was there physically when Prabhupada was in San Francisco in 1967, and Hayagriva was there, and he got direct supervision and guidance from Srila Prabhupada in editing the Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, 1968 with the Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are very important points that devotees should be educated on. There are many websites and very good articles explaining all the facts, the bona fide facts, and the truth regarding all of these different changes. It is best to stick to the words of the Acharya without changing. Then they start to invent and manufacture different interpretations. But what can be expected from those who claim that they have seen the truth? What can we expect? To whom it may concern. Back to you, Vishwakarma Prabhu, at Hare Krishna 108. Hare Krishna. Your sound.
Yeah, sorry.
Good.
Very interesting explanation here about changes and what are authorized and weren't authorized. And I had an interesting story Yashodanandana Prabhu told to me recently by a devotee in San Diego. And he was at the temple, and there was a former GBC member of the ISKCON movement. And I don't know if he's former guru. I think he could be a former, like Bhagawan announced at the Peacock Films, former ISKCON guru Bhagawan Das. And his name is Rabindra Swarup from Philadelphia. So he looked at the Bhagavad Gita that was being used in the temple for the classes. And it was one of these ones that we have. This particular Bhagavad Gita, you can see it. I have someone coming tomorrow to purchase 3 of them, maybe 4 for distribution to people that really want to read the authorized, unedited versions of the Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, back to the story. He looked at the Gita and he goes, "Oh, I see you're using a Ritvik Gita." Ritvik Gita. This is the level of confusion that exists in the minds of a lot of these people that were in this organization. I believe this fellow retired from active work as an academic and a so-called scholar, but he still goes around to the different centers, I guess, on occasion and makes these ludicrous, frivolous comments from him for everyone's understanding of how bogus these people really are. We call them amateurs. You have an amateur, he's not a professional person, but somehow or other he thinks he's some kind of big person and he makes these amateur comments. And this Rabindra Swarup is another so-called amateur phony, so-called leader of Prabhupada's mission, who's prepared to change the Gita. And as you mentioned, there are over 5,000 changes in the current edition of the Bhagavad Gita. And I thought it was interesting, Prabhu, as well, that you were reading how the author of Caitanya-caritāmṛta was presenting himself as a person lower than the worm and stool. And, reading the Caitanya-caritāmṛta recently, I'm in Ancha Leela 5, which is the 17th volume of Caitanya-caritāmṛta. I'm finishing that up by next week. The entire read of Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Very enlivening, by the way, Prabhus, and highly recommend that you take the time to steadily apply yourself day after day to read through the entire scripture and study it personally and develop a relationship with our guru through sound vibration and the reading of his books, which he specifically instructed all of us to do. Like sometimes people get mad at us. How come you're telling me what to do? Chant my rounds, follow the regulated principles, read the books. Who do you think you are? Are you trying to run, as one devotee called it, a boot camp? You're trying to get us like we're soldiers and you have to do what you're told if you want. No, you don't have to do anything. But Prabhupada is telling us that this is how a bona fide disciple of his conducts his daily affairs, his regimen, his use of time is to study the books, chant your rounds, follow the principles, preach Krishna consciousness to others. I see Prakriti Prabhu in Montreal has printed up our invitations and he's sent me a note today. I'm going to distribute these to hundreds of people. Well, thank you very much. for helping the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya, for doing something positive to bring truth to the world. So getting back to the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Krishnadas Babaji, Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying that he feels himself lower than a worm in stool. Why does he say that? Because a true pure devotee knows that this material body, Prabhupada said, is a bad bargain for the spirit soul. It is a bad bargain. And we all know the difficulties that we all have with this material body, whether it's cancer or cataracts or crippled legs or upset stomach, whatever it might be, disease, birth, death, disease, old age, they accompany us through this journey, short journey in time with this body. Because it's a bad bargain, because by nature we are Sat Chit Ananda. Dasa Avatar, Das. We are Sat Chit Ananda. We are eternal. We're full of knowledge. We are full of bliss. But this body is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. It's temporary. It's full of misery, and it is there is very little happiness in this world. I wanted to refer to another section of the Ancha Lila, which I looked at about a month ago, when Prabhupada discusses the materialistic men, and they are no better than worms in stool. And I'm going to read that section and purport again for us today. And it's from Ancha Lila, chapter 6, text 193. That's the Ancha Lila of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, chapter 6, text 193. And here the same terms are given in terms of stool. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the mercy of Lord Krishna is stronger than anything else. Therefore, the Lord has delivered you from the ditch of materialistic life, which is like a hole in which people pass stool. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to the law of karma, everyone is destined to suffer and enjoy according to a certain material standard. But the mercy of Lord Krishna is so powerful, the Lord can change all the reactions of one's past karma or fruitive activities. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically drew attention to the mercy of Lord Krishna. That mercy is more powerful than anything else, for it has saved Raghunath Das from the strong bondage of materialistic life, which the Lord compared to a hole where a people pass stool. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his verdict that those addicted to the materialistic way of life are like worms that are living in stool. It's quite graphic. But cannot give it up. Just like the pig. He eats stool, but he thinks, oh, I'm happy. This is the confusion of the materialistic mind. A grihasta, one who has decided to live in a comfortable home, although it is actually miserable, is in a condemned position. Only the mercy of Krishna can save one from such misery. Without Krishna's mercy, one cannot get out of the filthy entanglement of materialistic life. The poor living entity cannot give up his materialistic position on his own. Only when granted the special mercy of Krishna can he give it up. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that very well that Raghunath Das was already liberated. Nevertheless, he emphasized that Raghunath Das's life of material comfort as a very rich man's son with a very beautiful wife and many servants to attend him was like a ditch of stool. The Lord has specifically indicated that ordinary men who are very happy with material comforts and family life are in no better position than worms in stool. So we'll move forward. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
These are very important instructions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was advising Raghunath Das Goswami. On one hand, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with the austerity of Raghunath Das Goswami. On the other hand, he could see the danger of being entangled in that situation that you just described, with beautiful wife, nice family, plenty of wealth. But Raghunath Das went to Jagannath Puri and was engaged himself in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he became one of the greatest acharyas in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. His level of austerity is incomparable, and his writings are studied by devotees still today, by followers of Lord Chaitanya. As a matter of fact, one of the prayers that we recite in the beginning of these, after all the introductions, one of the prayers, Adadana Srinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dulishyam Janma Janmani. This was composed by Raghunath Das Goswami. It means that taking a piece of grass in my mouth, piece of straw, which is a sign of humility, I bow down repeatedly at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami and beg for his mercy, so I may become a piece of dust at his lotus feet, birth after birth. This is a very fine, very advanced devotional sentiment which would aspire for, but this shows the influence and power of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, and we have Bhakta Ram Singh in California as well. He's opening up a new center there. We're quite excited about that. Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association community. And I'd like him to share some of his realizations today to our group on these verses and discussion of Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Bhakta Ram Singh, can you speak?
Yes, Prabhu. I'm just getting off work. So,
Okay.
Yes, so these are all very important details that all devotees need to imbibe in their lives, because Prabhupada is giving your grihastha life, your brahmachari life. Every one of us should take shelter of his sound vibration, specifically his original books, read his original books, make their life successful. So the whole package is given by Srila Prabhupada. We don't have to go anywhere else to find the transcendental sound, pure devotional service, the message of Lord Chaitanya. So we should stick here to the original program of reading Prabhupada's books, associating, chanting our rounds, and doing some, menial service, whatever we can do according to our capacity. And there will be success in the future or right now. So that has been my experience in my little couple of years associating with devotees.
Okay, excellent. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. You've got that nice chaturanga and
Hare
shaved
Krishna.
head. I see you've shaved your head, young man. Very nice.
Yeah, it feels better actually. Yeah, beautiful discussion. I was just reflecting about how when Prabhupada was physically with us in the 1967, 68, 69 period, there were certain things which were different than the period after that, 75, 76.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this one devotee, this Mother Devahuti, she was maybe 35 years older than most of the devotees. And she was a really, really good artist, and Prabhupada really liked her paintings, especially like on the front cover of Nectar of Devotion. And there was discussions how later on some of the other paintings in the period years after that, somehow the artist didn't have the same kind of devotion. I'm speaking very generally. Sometimes even the colors were beautiful jewel tone colors and better in some ways. So there appeared to be some kind of difference between the early period when Prabhupada was, in some cases, directly personally looking over the shoulder and telling the artist how to paint this, how to use this color, how to do this. And because sometimes somebody sent me a lecture on Messenger a while back. It was a older lecture, maybe 69, 70, 71. And Prabhupada was asking all the devotees to have, that they would be ready or qualified to have many of their own disciples or thousands of disciples at some point. And I was just kind of comparing how a lot of things happened where Prabhupada, even he wanted devotees to take some kind of Bhaktivedanta exam, Sarvabhauma exam. And from these exams, they would be prepared for maybe having their own disciples. So sometimes it's helpful to understand that Prabhupada's letters or discussions or lectures and years ago in the beginning, he would say something different later on. He would change his mind. And it's very careful for the devotees to be able to defend themselves, because somebody will present these older letters and things. And if Prabhupada gave some in 1976, 77 period discussions of how to manage the movement, how to carry out initiations, how to do so many things, those are much more important because they're the later instructions. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. Haribo.
Yeah, it's very true that a lot of people take these quotes of Srila Prabhupada to justify their own ambition to become a guru, because being in the business of a guru can solidify your financial position in life. We had a fellow in Toronto, his name was Kratu. Now, he was coming to the temple. I think he got initiated by Keith Ham in West Virginia. And all of a sudden, sometime in the 80s, he emerged as a candidate for becoming a guru in the ISKCON movement. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, how the heck did that happen? That all of a sudden this person, Kratu, who never really did any service in terms of his participation with the Toronto temple and its development, all of a sudden emerged as a candidate to become guru. And I can remember meeting him, and he was encouraging me, oh, you should become a guru. It's a good way to make a living. So this type of approach to the spiritual process of Krishna consciousness has been adapted by a lot of people. And this is, of course, absolutely the wrong reason. And you take these specific quotes, and we'll get Yashoda to comment on it, because me and him were discussing it this week. How people take naturally, just think about it, Prabhus. We've got a pure devotee spiritual master who has everybody's good intentions at heart. And he would love to see everybody rise up to the platform of Uttama Adhikari. Of course he would. But not artificially. Mm-hmm. Not for material purpose, profit, adoration, and distinction.
But that's the thing is happening, all this time.
Yeah. But it's like in the case of Jayananda. Now, Jayananda was a very committed devotee to Prabhupada's service. He was not interested in profit, adoration, and distinction. but in service. He became recognized by Prabhupada
How many
for
devotees
that selfless service that he performed before his early death in 1976, I believe.
77.
77, yeah. So he lasted a little bit after the 76 Rath Yatra. I had a chance to speak to him on a few occasions in Toronto when we were setting up the traveling Rath Yatra program with Devi Deva and Charu and Vatsal and a group of devotees, where we started the program in Toronto, and eventually that shifted over to LA and they carried it on. And I believe Madhuha changed it into the Festival of India, which is now a program for helping to promote the ISKCON Guru system.
Charu made the change, but go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the thing with this purpose. What of the purpose of a person that tries to present themselves as an Uttama Adhikari when they're not. And in this way, we've seen the fraudulent fall down of almost 100 candidates. And by the way, everyone, just for your information, these are not just mediocre offenses, but some of them are grievous offenses against young children, homosexual offenses, and even in the case, we have a member with us, Krishna Kata, who was a witness to the murder case of Su Lochan because he objected to these misunderstandings and misrepresentations by these people to try to gather disciples for their own personal benefit. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please.
Well, these are very important points. And unfortunately, what we have is a situation where these kind of discussions about history of our movement are not allowed. As you mentioned earlier in this program, they're not allowed in the institution. They feel threatened by these kind of discussions. Well, it should be fully allowed and everything should be discussed properly. Otherwise, how will the proper understanding come? And in other words, it becomes like a Jim Jones type cult atmosphere where I call it parampara problem. Just like you give children some problem because it's easy to digest. So somebody in our movement, just accept, don't question, don't make waves, or you're all envious. Now just shut up and eat your problem. Well, I'm sorry, you're not going to develop spiritual understanding by this kind of fanatical way of behaving. Because we practically experienced in 1978, when many valid points were being brought up with these leaders, the first reaction is, well, you're all envious. Well, wait a minute. We're raising some actual important points about the movement, the devotees, how things should function, the fact that Srila Prabhupada, the founder of our movement, did not introduce everything that was being introduced and forced upon the devotees. Not just introduced, but forced upon by coercion of the devotees. And when objections were being placed, their first reactions are, you're all envious. They really had no answer for the major point that Srila Prabhupada, in the last few months of his manifested presence, did not introduce all these new procedures, new Vyasa pujas and new titles and new pranam mantras and all his Vyasasanas. This was all concoction due to false ego. Prabhupada did not introduce this, but they insisted on it because of their desire for sense gratification, for name, fame, power, profit, adoration, and distinction. And that was the root cause of the problem. And eventually that matured in major problems because so many devotees were driven away, kicked out of this movement for objecting or not accepting their concocted position. We'll leave it at that for now. It seems that somebody else, Kevin G or KG or somebody, has got some questions.
We'll go to that in a minute. Yeah, it's interesting to note. And, you know, in most organizations, like, for example, a franchise system, When you have a franchise system that you grow, and then within the franchise system, there are dissenters, there are people that object. They have a whole division in the franchise organization that deals with the complaints. They deal with them in a mature, reasonable way in order to satisfy the people that are complaining. Because if they don't satisfy the people that are having legitimate problems, what happens to that franchise system? The problems exacerbate. They don't go away. And you don't solve a problem because you have a dissenter or a person that brings forward legitimate complaints by kicking them out or murdering them. This is complete insanity. That's why we use the term amateur. These people are amateurs. They joined a movement of brilliance of one of the greatest leaders in the history of the world for spiritual development. They had no qualifications, but when they saw the opportunity to jump forward, they took full of advantage of it, like Tamal Krishna. He never did anything except disturb the movement. We were witness to it. And every time he did something, Prabhupada got upset with him. And eventually, in 1975, I believe it was, Yashoda Prabhupada told him, finish with the roadshow, go to China. And Tamal
1976. 1976 at Mayapur.
Thank you. Told him to go to China, and he refused. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm Tamal Krishna. Krishna Kata in California. Maybe you could share
Hare
some
Krishna.
insight.
Well, first of all, thank you for this amazing, in-depth, and detailed study of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. The realizations from our speakers are the reason we are glued together, like the bundle of stick can't be broken example that you gave, Vishwakarma. This news from Honolulu, Hawaii is exactly that example. It's a manifestation of that example. That person that made that decision, he is one of us. He is one of the devotees that wants to see Srila Prabhupada's legacy, and specifically his books, brought back, and the edited books, the unauthorized books, booted out. And you can't put in check a movement that started by Krishna himself, Lord Chaitanya, and his pure devotee. You cannot. This is my share. This is an example of how you can't put in check the greatest movement in the Kali Yuga, the movement that we all fell in love with, and we still are in love with. So you'll see temple after temple will start to adopt this new order that we only are going to preach with Srila Prabhupada's books, the original books. And I know we're pushing to do something that's going to help that exact momentum, printing Prabhupada's books. So I'm on board 100%, and it's such a glorious mission that you have been so painstakingly working on these last few years, that I am beyond with gratitude and with thanks, because that's all I think about every day. And I can't wait to think about this for the rest of my time in this body, is serving Srila Prabhupada, who's the servant of the servant, all the way to Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. And so thank you for calling on me, but that's my realization for today, is that this amazing, glorious news in Honolulu is so inspiring, because this is how you're going to see it unfold. Every temple little by little, is going to adopt this same order.
Yeah, and it's Krishna Kata. It's like domino effect.
Yes,
This is the
100%.
idea. You know, because people are wondering, well, how is the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, going to become established as the alternative to the ISKCON movement? Because there are lots of different groups. There are lots of Prabhupada Nuga groups and Ritvik groups like that who are carrying on independently. Like we have this fellow in England. Like he can barely play the guitar. And he gets up and he starts to finger pick in front of the camera and try to sing some kind of concocted version of Jaya Radha Madhava. I could tell you right now, if Prabhupada saw that, he would stop him in his tracks. But if anybody says anything about his concoctions, he'll renounce them. Oh, you're not authorized. You're not good people because you're telling me what to do. No respect. There is no respect. But we, as a group, are building, and I think you're a testimony to it, Krishna Kata, Prabhu, and lots of other people in this group, and the hundreds of people that are watching our programs, thousands of them watching them online on our YouTube channel, Hare Krishna Society YouTube. So we have to realize that we're documenting, as Ron Singh so wonderfully encourages us to document these programs, because we're not going to be here, all of us, for all time. We've only got it so many years left in this body, all of us. And by at least presenting this philosophy to the public the way we are, we're working to help preserve the legacy of Krishna consciousness with the Prabhupada disciples who are of the first generation. This is very valuable. And any of you who want to help us with the production of this program, who are familiar with the use of Zoom technology or any other technology that'll support this, please step forward and let us know, because we're always looking for people to take part in our efforts. We need help. I was giving the example to Krishna Kata. There was a basketball game played this week in America. I don't follow American basketball, but the story was very interesting because there was a Canadian player playing for Purdue, and they were playing against some other team. At any rate, what happened was, long story short, the other team won because the Purdue team, only one person scored half the points, the guy from Canada. So you've got 5 guys on the floor, but you've got one guy scoring all the points for your team, and the other team, everybody sharing the responsibility of winning the game, and they won and the other team lost. It's a very simple example, but it's standing right in front of us. If we band together as a team, if we step up out of our complacency, our lethargy, our indifference, and we take a step forward and say, I'm going, just like Krishna Das Prabhu, Kata Prabhu, thank you for your comment, because I know you were a police officer for 17 years and Secret Service officer for 34 years total. And when you say something, you mean it. And that's what we want, is people that are committed to do what they say and not due to mental weakness, just come and go like so many people have done in the past, being part of this. And we've got a fellow here, whoever he is, somewhere in some mountain place in Kevin G. Where are you, Kevin G? You've got your hand up. We've got
Hare
a
Krishna,
class.
Prabhu.
Yeah, where are
Thank
you?
you. Tennessee area, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you very much for. Thank you
Tennessee.
for. Yeah, yeah. By the
Go ahead.
Smokies. Yeah. It's just real. I just wanted to comment. Thank you very much for the association, all the devotees, Prabhupada, disciples, and everyone else. I was just really inspired about the Hawaii book distribution. I made a vow to about over a year ago now, just to stop any kind of distribution of any other Gita, only Prabhupada's original Gita, and started doing so with people I worked with out here in the Nashville area and different places, storefronts of people I've been made friends with just stopping by, people that would just make comments about Tulsi around the neck is perfect opportunity to just preach. Like I started doing small books, and then give them Prabhupada's Gita, and people in Tennessee area are just eating up Prabhupada's books. They really are interested, and I'm going to continue to do so. I'm going to just try to order another, like a big box of Gitas pretty soon here. I haven't done it in a while, but getting some more Lakshmi recently, so I'm going to plan to do that soon. And yeah, I was just going to say that I've been like infiltrating, like I was telling Paranjana Prabhu, I've been infiltrating ISKCON, like just kind of sneaking in, spying in on like stuff, trying to be neutral. Just not really like it's like it's horrible to have to say that I've like had to do that, but yeah, just like been neutral. Like, oh, have you taken an initiation yet, Prabhu? Like, are you thinking of it? Like, it's been since 2013. Heard kirtan and just started practicing, and just I learned about monkey on a stick like 1 year in, and just never could do that. Just absolutely not. And so I've had to be really careful and very neutral. The only difference is Kishore Chicago is huge amount of people go in, so wasn't able to. I could just blend in and not be noticed. But in Tennessee, that farm temple Prabhupada established in 1975. So I struggled. I was very austere. Different generations I've learned come and gone, but it's so small that I can't help but be recognized. So I just recently had to step back and just stay away. And so this why this association, this group is really like a shelter. So we could just speak about Prabhupada openly, glorify Prabhupada constantly. It really does feel like shelters. So I just wanted to share these things. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting, and we'll wind up Yashoda here moving forward because we've come to the end of the program, but it's interesting to note that as devotees like yourself in Tennessee and Krishna Katha in San Diego and Ron Singh in Sacramento, etc., and people around the world that are going to these ISKCON places and trying to present the truth of the matter to the heresy. These are heretics that are running these organizations, and when you speak up, Krishna Katha, they react. Oh, you can't say that. You have no right. We're going to banish you. Well, let me say this to all of them. Be careful what you say and do, because we may sue you for depriving us of our legitimate right to worship Krishna according to Prabhupada's bona fide teachings. Don't come into the temple and call it a Ritvik Gita, Rabindra Sarup, you fool, you worm in a stool body that has a big mouth and doesn't know what he's saying. Big mistake. Watch yourself. And as Yashoda Nandana will say, to whom it may be concerned. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you, everyone. We're having some ecstasy today with these classes, and it's just more inspiring as we go forward, step by step. It does not get boring. Haribol. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Join in, everybody. It's just a few minutes. Chant along with Srila Prabhupada. We all chant together, and then we'll have the Vanchakalpa prayers and the ending of the program. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Jai.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for participating. We will see you all on Saturday at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Toronto time, Hamilton time, and 10 o'clock East Coast time, USA. Hare Krishna. All glory is to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajayatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya